Hello friends, good evening. With the 2027 Assembly elections still about a year away, Goa has already entered the season of some big promises and some bigger claims. Every party wants to sound like Goa's savior. Every leader wants to project himself as the one who will finally fix what others broke. Today, in these episodes of Editor Speaks, I want to dwell upon three such promises. First, the Congress promised to shut down offshore casinos. Second, Goa Forward's demand for dual citizenship for Goans with Portuguese passports. And the third one, AAP's promise of Rs 10 lakh health insurance for every Goan. All three promises sound attractive. All three appeal to genuine public anxieties. And all three must be examined with a pinch of salt. Let us first begin with the offshore casinos. Opposition leader Yuri Alemão has decided that if the Congress comes to power in 2027, offshore casinos will not operate in Goa. The applause lines are predictable. Casinos pollute the Mandavi, casinos corrode Goa's social fabric. Casinos survive on political patronage. Enough is enough, he says. Although the anger sounds righteous, the timing, however, raises questions. The first question Goa deserves an honest answer to is simple. Who brought casinos to Goa in the first place? Casinos did not drop from the sky. They did not arrive overnight. They came through policy decisions, licenses, renewals, and repeated extensions. Offshore casinos were introduced when the Congress was in power. Permissions were granted, the industry was allowed to anchor itself firmly on the Mandavi. If casinos are today seen as a moral and environmental blot, the stain has many fingerprints, including those of the party now promising to erase it. Alemão speaks about pollution in the Mandavi River. Environmental groups have raised red flags for years. Fisher folks have presented, citizens have complained about massive sewage discharge, fuel leaks and congestion. Where was the Congress's sustained resistance against this? Where were the legal battles, the white papers, the mass movements led by the principal opposition party? We need to understand moral outrage has value only when it is consistent. When it appears suddenly close to elections, voters are entitled to question its sincerity. The second uncomfortable question is about the present. Alemão has been leader of opposition since 2022. Casinos did not suddenly become polluting in 2025. Offshore licenses were extended, deadlines were shifted, governments changed, but the casino ships stayed exactly where they were. The moot question remains, did the Goa's principal opposition force debates that shook the assembly? Did it build sustained public pressure beyond press statements? Did it present a legislative roadmap to dismantle the casino economy? Or was the issue allowed to simmer quietly until election season came into view? There is also a serious allegation of massive money exchanges between casino owners and the governments. It demands evidence, documentation and legal action. Has the opposition pursued the trail with investigative seriousness or is the allegation meant to hover conveniently as political fog? Goans are not short of anger about casinos, they are short of trust. Before asking voters to believe that casinos will vanish after the next election, Congress owes Goa a frank accounting of its own role in creating and sustaining the industry. Without that honesty, enough is enough risks sounding less like resolve and more like regret, delivered far too late. Let us now move to the second promise of dual citizenship. Goa Forward Chief Vijay Sardesai has demanded that Goans holding Portuguese citizenship be granted dual citizenship. His argument is emotional, historical and deeply rooted to Goa's migration story. Many Goans left the state in search of livelihood. Many took Portuguese citizenship not out of choice but because history and economics pushed them into that direction. Sardesai says forcing them to choose between livelihood and identity is unjust. He argues that dual citizenship will protect Goans preserve Goemkarponn and strengthen ties with the diaspora. There is a truth in the pain he describes. There is no denying that Goans abroad remain emotionally connected to the state. They contribute economically, culturally, and socially. Families have been split by rigid citizenship laws, hence, the demand deserves empathy. But here too, reality must temper rhetoric. Dual citizenship is not a state subject, it is governed by the constitutions and central laws. India, as of now, does not allow dual citizenship. Any exception for Goa would require parliament constitutional interpretation and political consensus at the national level. So the question is this: is this a realistic policy roadmap or a symbolic demand designed to resonate emotionally with a specific voter base? Has Goa Forward articulated how this will be achieved legally? Has it built alliances at the national level to push the demand? Or is this another promise that sounds comforting but faces near insurmountable legal hurdles? Raising an issue is not the same as resolving it. Goans deserve clarity on whether the demand has a fighting chance or whether it will remain a campaign talking point that quietly fades after votes are counted. Now coming to the third promise, Rs 10 lakh health insurance by AAP. AAP leaders, including Punjab Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann and Goa in charge Atishi, have landed in Goa with a clear message. Only AAP can give Goa Rs 10 lakh health insurance scheme. BJP will never do it. Look at Punjab. They say look at what AAP has delivered there. Healthcare is an emotional and urgent issue in Goa. GMC faces doctor shortages. The state's JDSSY scheme is limited. People struggle with high medical costs. When AAP says Rs 10 lakh insurance with wide hospital coverage, it naturally attracts attention. However, we have to be very vigilant because promises important from other states must be examined carefully. Punjab's population, revenue structure, disease burden, and hospital network are different. Goa is smaller, but its healthcare ecosystem relies heavily on private hospitals, apart from the Goa Medical College. The key questions are missing from the speeches. What will be the annual cost of the scheme in Goa? How will it be funded? How many hospitals will be empaneled and at what rates? Will the premiums rise later? What safeguards and prevent misuse and inflated billing? AAP leaders claim they help people access healthcare even while in opposition. That may be commendable, but running a state-wide insurance scheme is not the same as facilitating individual cases. Goans have seen schemes announced with fanfare before, only to collapse under poor execution, funding gaps, and bureaucratic confusion. Insurance is only as good as its implementation. Saying only AAP can is a political marketing. Governance requires details. And that brings us to the larger picture. As election approaches, Goa will hear many such promises. Casinos will be removed, identities will be protected, healthcare will be transformed, education will be revolutionized, corruption will end, and so on. Voters must ask harder questions. Who made these promises worse? Who stayed silent when action was needed? Who has a record of delivery and not just declarations? Big promises are easy, credibility is hard. Goa does not need a louder slogan, it needs honest accounting, realistic policies, and leaders willing to speak uncomfortable truths, including about their own past. Until then, every promise, no matter how attractive, deserves scrutiny, not applause. That is the job of journalists, and that is the duty of voters. Thank you.
तुम्ही पळयतात गोंयकारपण, गोंयकारांचो गोंयकारा खातीर.